I went to a tech conference in October, if you remember,
Yeah.
and it was what apparently, and I haven't been to a tech conference in years, but apparently the exhibitors, it's very popular to give away socks, like dress
Yeah.
socks,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I have like way too many nerd socks. Like I'm just nerded out with socks, and I was kind of live tweeting because they had a hashtag or something, and I'm
That's
like,
right.
heads up vendors, like if some of you could just make underwear a thing, I won't have to pack as much for for the next conference. And
Yeah.
that comment kind of caught fire a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get any sort of branding play out of that. So nobody's
Right,
going to see it,
right, I
unfortunately.
guess.
So,
Good point.
although the socks, I guess they don't get a whole heck of a lot either, but
Yeah.
it's name recognition. Yeah, I mean, I have at least 2 or 3 different pairs from 401k record keepers for whatever that's worth. And it's funny, I laid them out on my bed one day when I was like sorting through stuff, and I like texted them to all my reps. I'm like, oh, which one should I wear today? Like just like giving them a hard time, pitting them against each other. But
That's funny.
yeah, that's fun. And that's also been a topic of some of these conferences, the swag, and then you get to the environmental impact of some of this stuff. And I don't know, it's one of those things that people seem to want to debate on LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, fun to talk about.
So I'm thinking about the conference scene, and I was really last year with COVID coming down, I was ramping up about the idea of starting to go to my industry conferences. And so I went to one in October, and it was fun. I went by myself, so I didn't have any companionship while I was there. Met some people, which was nice, but generally kind of was alone. I didn't bring my wife or the kids or anything. It was in DC. And it just realized that like it was just a 3-day opportunity to be sold to. I mean, product knowledge is important, so I get it. So there's just teetering on this value. You and I talked about this. It's teetering on value. Whether do I really need to be sold on the products, or do is it really necessary? So then I was thinking, what about if I went to the conferences that our target customers go to?
Right.
So there's, for example, the legal industry, law firms are one of our largest verticals that we support, and they have, for example, like their bar associations have conferences all the time, and I think they have non-bar member tickets. So I was thinking, well, maybe I could go to a couple of these or try out what it would be like to go, maybe not as an exhibitor, but as a guest, to maybe rub elbows with people. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad idea. I mean, I think you'd probably want to do something with you and your team. I mean, you probably want to bring another person so you're not like manning the table the whole time and doing that sort of
Well, no,
stuff.
I'm thinking like not even going as an exhibitor.
Oh, I see.
Just going as a show attendee.
Oh, okay.
I'm, and kind of like in guerrilla style warfare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of, like be where not that they're enemies, but be where you're not expected to be or something.
Right.
I was just ninjaing. I feel like ninjaing the thing. You know what I mean? Like sure, I can loiter in the exhibitors hall, but with the member pass or the attendee pass, you can kind of go in and out of the shows and the talks and whatever. I don't know. Am I crazy?
And the goal would be what? To get clients, survey your competition, or
well, if networking is important for business, right? Air quotes networking, but I don't know why I'm air quoting that. But if networking is important for business, isn't it better to network with potential clients than potential competitors? If I go as an attendee to my tech trade shows, I'm only networking with competitors and vendors. But then I was like, well, what if spending 3 days loitering around a barrel full of fish that I want to fish from? You know what I mean? If I could be so crass.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look at who else is
like
vending,
for you, for
I guess, for lack of
example,
a better word.
It would be like if you went to like maybe like a small business trade show. I don't know, right?
Right.
I mean, you would get value out of it because you are a small business per se, but let's face it, you're swimming, you would be like loitering in your target customers, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, I would think think there's value to both sides of it. I mean, there's a big 401k conference in San Diego that could be interesting, and I think the value there is, for me, it's the like the sessions that they have. They have different like breakout things, and so for me, when I started my business, and then we basically went right into COVID, and in my prior job, we never we just lived in the back cave. We didn't really connect with anybody. So now that I've been out and like connecting with more people, like I could go to this 401k conference and literally meet 100 people I've talked to on LinkedIn, and it would be cool just to, as I joke and say, just to see how tall everybody is, right? 'Cause you have no idea.
Right.
So that would be kind of fun, but I think I'd learn a lot out of that. But going to like a local, I know here in Connecticut, like New Haven has a big, I forget what they call it, like Big Biz or like something like that, and New Haven Chamber, like some of those big sort of things. But I think there's value to both sides of it.
Do you target a particular vertical, or do you have a vertical that you like in particular?
I don't. I've thought about that a little bit. I guess my vertical is local, honestly, because I deal with relatively. I mean, the goal when I started my business was to make it very local, very high touch, right? So I'd say, well, I'm not going to drive to Boston for a 5-person bakery to set up the 401k plan, right? But I'll certainly do it in town because it's it's the right thing to do, and that kind of stuff. But as that sort of shifted and changed, I've thought about maybe even targeting like the technology world or something like that, because we have a little bit of a connection with those people as far as what I do and the way I run my business, or targeting a couple clients in the healthcare space too. So that could be something. I mean, I guess like I'm just trying to think of what I've like accumulated. No,
my sales research, because I'm a student of the game now, sales and marketing, and it really indicates that if you niche, if you focus on if you focus on a particular niche, whether it's an industry or a subset of an industry, you can kind of build an ecosystem around you and strengthening your position in that niche.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of leaning into that. Although we're getting, I have a meeting with a investment brokerage firm that has offices in Chicago, New York, Boston, and London this afternoon. And they found us on Google. And so if you do land on our homepage, we're I don't want to say we're generalist, but we are agnostic to our clients' industries, right? But from a marketing standpoint, we are focusing kind of all of our marketing energy on the legal industry for right now, because if we have success in that, then we can reproduce that in all of the markets that we want to.
Yeah, and your testimonials are going to skew that way, and all that sort of stuff too. I mean, I tend to do pretty well in the legal world as well, because there's certain things that they're looking for that we provide that a lot of other people won't. So, I mean, there was an attorney group that called me, and it was funny because he like went down a checklist of what he was looking for, and I didn't want to wait to get to the end and be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we do, because that obviously sounds very sort of salesy or whatever. So, but I'm not one to like interrupt. So I was kind of like, I let him get like halfway through of what I thought his checklist was. And I was like, all right, wait a minute, time out. I see the track that you're on. Here's what we do. And that relationship ended up working out pretty well. But I mean, I guess that would be for any business that's trying that niche versus catch all. If you targeted 100 prospects within a 25-mile radius, and that was one, your A/B test, if that was your A, and then your B test was 100 prospects in a specific industry or niche, which would you do well in? Because local can be a niche, right? I mean, a certain radius. I mean, if you're in the landscaping business or something like that, obviously with some physical proximity would make sense. But I mean, for me, it's been a little bit of both. Maybe over time we'll sort of get pulled in a direction. Sometimes you get a couple of referrals, or like, oh, let me refer you to a couple of my attorney buddies or something like that. Then you sort of go down that path organically. But now for me, it's been a little bit of everything, and I like that kind of mix.
Well, if your niche is local, then I mean, you do participate in the local chamber. right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
pretty
A bunch of
pretty
chambers and do some of those networking calls and stuff. So yeah.